So hey guys, I am Hannah Davis, certified strength and conditioning specialist, owner of Body by Hannah personal training studio in now Cleveland, Tennessee. I moved here from New York City where I own my own personal training company there. I served on the advisory board for Cosmopolitan magazine, been featured in many other national publications as a fitness expert, and continue to be a voice out there, or try to. And I'm here with Jessica Guthrow, who I think that's the first week I got that right, the last name. Jess and I met in New York City, worked together in New York City, and now we are no longer together, but we like to get together every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock East Coast time, 4 o'clock Pacific time, to blab and talk about so many fitness topics. Tonight we're talking about fitness trends that are out of style. Jess, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, well, that was pretty much it. I think other than the fact that I run Live Lean TV with my husband, Brad Guthrow, where we put out new videos every Monday and Thursday for free on YouTube, just offering our tips and advice on fitness, nutrition, and also offering workouts and recipes and stuff like that. We also have a team membership site you can join if you want to be coached by us. It's called teamlivelean.com. And I can type both of those in the chat box below. But it's great to have all you guys back. Thank you for all of you who are returning. And then these two guys, just a quick introduction of how we all know each other. So these two guys are part of my mastermind group that Brad and I are part of. It's like a business mastermind where a bunch of online personal trainers and fitness experts come together to really work on and help grow our businesses. So that's the crew. We're going to be in Texas in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for joining, guys. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, well, Ben, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I've been doing strength and conditioning stuff for a little while now, mostly working with just normal people rather than athletes all the time, because, I mean, athletes are cool, but normal people are cool too. So doing a lot of stuff with that. I've worked at a few different gyms, and then just recently kind of went all in on my own online business. So kind of slowed down with the in-person work, doing a lot more with my online coaching business, which is housed at bentrained.com. So just like Ben and then past tense of trained. So that's my website, doing online coaching there, and then lots and lots of writing, which is fun.
Yeah,
and then apparently I look like Greg Olson. So
yeah.
I'll have to start running with that one.
Oh, you should. I can't believe
this newsletter, you guys, because it's good. I get your newsletters and I like them.
Cool.
So you go to Ben Trained and sign up.
Yeah, bentrained.com. Even just on the homepage, you'll be able to sign up for the email list just right there on the homepage, nice and simply.
Yeah.
Cool. That's cool, Ben Trained. And then Quest Fitness. What is, first of all, your real name?
My real name is Robbie Farlow, but I'm a giant Uber nerd and view life a lot like a video game. And if there are gamers out there, I often say that life is like an RPG, and I'm on an epic quest to live an awesome life, but fitness is sort of a side quest. It doesn't have to be all of your life, but it's an important part of life. Right now, I'm in Rome, Georgia, so not far from Cleveland, Tennessee.
Not at all.
I actually train in Chattanooga twice a week, so when you said that, I was like, that's not that far from where I work.
I'm gonna have to. Where in Chattanooga or what?
At Lift. It's actually outside in Saudi Daisy. Lift Fitness and Boot Camp. Friend of mine that I had on my podcast. I do a podcast as well. Sent me a message when I moved to Georgia, and he was like, "If you want to come help me for a couple of days, that would be awesome." I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, speaking of podcasts, you guys should do a podcast. I mean, you could probably be in the same room while you do it. You're like so close together. But anyway, I just did a podcast with Robbie. It was great. It was with me and Brad. When was that? A few weeks ago? Like 3 weeks ago?
It went up last week. I usually try to record like a month out just so I can have like a batch of stuff in case life gets crazy.
Yeah,
but it didn't go because it always gets crazy.
Maybe you can put the link to that in the description or in the comments.
Yeah, I can do that right now. But I train, I guess, as Ben said, regular folks as well. I don't have a lot of athletes. I got into the fitness business, I guess, last year. I started my podcast the end of 2014. and got certified last year. I've been in love with fitness for the last 3 or 4 years, obsessed. And then all my friends just started messaging me and were like, dude, can you get me in shape? And my wife was like, I mean, you might as well put that theater degree to some use and, you know, do something that helps people. And that's what I did. That's what I'm doing.
Very cool. Awesome. So really cool. This is an awesome panel. I really think, I hope we get a lot of viewers tonight. You know, it's kind of, sometimes we get 375, sometimes we get 75. And, you know, I love this panel. This is really cool. So we're talking tonight about fitness trends that are out of style. And, you know, between all of us, we've probably been in the fitness industry for many years now. I know between Jess and myself alone, we've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years. We add them up together. And we've seen a lot of fads and trends. But let's talk about the more recent, like in the past couple years, kind of fitness trends that are out of style. What's the first thing that kind of comes to your mind, Jess?
I think my first one is like daily calorie counting, because that's like something that I used to do when I first started fitness. I thought it was necessary to know exactly how many calories you ate every single day and how many you burned and keep track of that every day. So I think that trend has definitely gone out of style just because it's super inconvenient and it's kind of demoralizing and it's frustrating and it's just not the way anyone wants to live their life anymore. So I think we've kind of put our foot down and be like, this can't be the way to optimal fitness.
Right. Very time consuming, and it's mostly inaccurate when you say most people aren't very accurate. So, you know, when the data isn't accurate, how valuable can it be?
Yeah. Have you guys done that, boys?
I count daily because I'm on a crazy bulk where I have to eat 600 grams of carbs a day. So I want to be as close as when you have to keep fat below 50 grams, you kind of have to track.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've sort of modified a system that my friend in Tennessee uses with clients, and it's a points-based system, which makes sense for me and sort of like being a gigantic video game nerd who played like games where you had to like attack a boss and you've got like, it can do 10 damage or it can do 12, but you might take damage if you use the higher attack. So sort of basing like you can have peanut butter, but you got to realize it's a higher in points because you can eat a lot of peanut butter, or you can you can eat the food you love, but you've got, you know, this amount of points, and like protein and lean veggies are 0 points, so they're free. Trying to get people to eat more of those.
You have a time frame in mind that you're going to be counting and tracking for?
Do what?
Do you have a time frame in mind for the duration of this bulk?
I'm done on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
It's been 16 weeks. It's been a very long, basically snacks of rice. But it's been
as you're cooking rice right now.
As I'm cooking rice right now.
It's all making sense.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's kind of like the Jenny, is it Jenny Craig?
Weight Watchers, I think is what you're going for.
Weight Watchers.
Wait, so they do points.
Yeah.
They do points, but what bugs me about the points with them, because my wife has done it before, and I did it for a couple of weeks with her to sort of see if I can make like a calorie macro sort of thing, like figure it out. But chicken, a piece of chicken breast is like 1 point, and a popsicle of theirs is 1 point. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
So
I know I wonder how long ago that was. I know they changed it. It's much better now. I remember when, and again, I haven't really looked in great detail what it is now, but I do know, you know, like obviously if a McDonald's Happy Meal fit in your point system, you were good to go, and but then you were also counting points. You were counting high points for vegetables, and now basically you're not using any points when you eat vegetables and I think mostly vegetables and maybe fruits or some fruits. And so they've definitely modified the point system, and it's a little bit better. these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any diet that makes you count your vegetables, I think, is the wrong one because we want to encourage like as many vegetables as possible.
Yeah.
So
Should eat
that's
as
my.
many vegetables as you can fit in you. My goodness.
I've never
Right.
seen anyone get fat off of vegetables or have a problem eating too many vegetables. That's never the case.
Right. So for me, when it comes to whether it's like counting calories specifically or even a point system, I mean, the biggest thing is like what it is that you're going for. I've definitely counted before. I'm also really nerdy and I love getting into the specific numbers because it
Yeah.
helps me be more strict about what I'm doing. But I only do that when I have a very specific goal in mind. So right now, Robbie's working on bulking and he's doing some sort of counting to get to where he's trying to go. Right now, for me, I'm coming off of a knee injury from a few months ago. I'm just getting back to normal, so I haven't counted anything for a while. I'm just making sure I'm eating plenty of good foods, all sorts of fruits and vegetables, and enjoying every bite of it. But it really just kind of depends on your goal set at that time. You can be really strict about things. You can count things. Yes, it's tedious. It's hard. It's not necessarily fun to keep track of things. But most of the time, you'll get better results.
Yeah.
So if you're going for some sort of aesthetic goal, that'll be helpful. But if you're just trying to be healthy, you don't need to do it at all.
Yeah, and I think, it depends on the goal, because I think general health and fitness, if you're concentrated on eating nutrient-dense foods and, kind of portion control with the foods that may be healthy but more caloric, let's say peanut butter, obviously there's a big nutrient value to that, but if you're just eating tablespoon after tablespoon of peanut butter, that's not going to be a good idea. But I think you can reach being lean, being healthy without calorie counting. Now, I think if you're doing something like, I'm going to call you Side Quest because I forgot. I can't. I'm
Robbie.
so bad with names.
Robbie.
Okay. So,
Mr. Side Quest.
Robbie's really working on a very specific goal to add mass. If you're doing a fitness competition or, maybe even trying to improve your athletic performance and you're using nutrition to do that, then you may have to really start being more specific. But I would definitely say for the average fitness person, someone interested in just being healthy, lean, and fit, calorie counting can be overwhelming, taxing, and end up backfiring a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think is another danger when it comes to Robbie's counting them to make sure he gets enough. But when we're talking about someone who's counting them to make sure they don't go over a certain number, they're trying to stay in their deficit and lose weight, I think it can be dangerous in the fact, I know this happened to me, I would choose rice cakes over apples because they were in calories, you know what I mean? So my food choices started to suffer from a nutritional standpoint. Every time I'd go grocery shopping, I'd be in the cereal aisle for an hour trying to find which cereal had the lowest number of calories, lowest number of sugar. That was what I was focused on instead of trying to eat whole foods, real foods,
Yeah, I think one thing, and this goes back to the days that I did paleo, and I'm not knocking on it at all. I'm not saying I think it works for getting people to eat whole foods. I would just be like, oh, it's cool that I can just eat fast. Olive oil, 5, 6,
Right.
7, 8, 10 seconds, and I'm just drowning lettuce in it.
Yeah, and
but
then
it can,
that's with the bacon and the cheese and
yeah,
it's cheese.
It's really easy to lose sight of what is really important when you get caught up in the minutia of calorie counting or, I can eat all the fat I want. You're losing sight of the actual goal, and that's when it gets to be troublesome.
That's a really
Right.
good point. That sums it up.
Yeah, so everybody just tuning in, we're talking about fitness trends that are out of style, and we've only gotten through calorie counting. And I think we're mostly in agreement that it's out of style, but that it has its place still in the fitness world. Paleo, you brought up paleo. That is a huge fitness trend. And I wouldn't say that one is out of style just yet.
No.
I think I don't know. I don't know if it really will go out of style. It has a lot of great components. It's maybe not the best for everyone. Like you were saying that you could just like drown your lettuce in olive oil, and that's not going to be the best idea for everybody. Ben? Are you paleo?
No.
I feel like I got a sense you had a different view on things.
Well, I think paleo is interesting because is kind of like we were mentioning before. You just lose sight of what's really important. Are there certain aspects of paleo that I am supportive of? Absolutely. Like eating a bunch of delicious whole foods is a great idea, and by limiting how many carbohydrates you're having on a diet like a paleo diet, you end up having a lot more vegetables, which is a good thing. But you don't necessarily need to cut out carbohydrates completely, or all grains, or even like beans. That's a little over the top. Now, it can work for people, and for me personally, I generally respond a lot better to a lower carb and higher fat diet. So paleo would work for me, except I enjoy eating more foods than paleo would technically allow. So why would I put myself through that when I could, I can enjoy some good whole grains and still get to where I want to go.
Right. And that's interesting because I feel like also Jess has mentioned in the past that higher fat, even healthy fat diets don't tend to work well for her.
Yeah, it's just my personal, I've noticed when I do a higher fat diet, lower carb, I tend to store more body fat and feel more lethargic and just have kind of a heavy feeling, even less energetic than I would with more fruit and more grains and stuff like that in my diet.
How low carb have you gone? How low carb have you gone?
Actually, I've done everything. Like, if you want to talk to someone who's tried every single diet there is known to man, it's me, because I've even done, like, back in my competition days, I was doing basically just meat and green vegetables. Like, I would have just like ground turkey and zucchini. That was it, and like for days, I went so many days on this. And like, I remember I was craving apples and bananas so bad, but I like wouldn't even allow a piece of fruit. It was intense, but I'm the type of personality where like when I'm doing something, I'm like tunnel vision, especially if it's for a fitness show or it's like competitive in some way. I'm like, I'm going to win, I'm going to do it all the way. So
yeah,
I
hyper-focused.
probably have been virtually zero carb before, and it made me miserable. I was super moody.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Was this,
like,
did you know Brad at the time? Like, how did he deal with that? That's my real question.
No, this was long before Brad.
Okay.
No, luckily, by the time I met Brad, I was like way over all my wacky diets. But yeah, this was probably in my early 20s. What?
I said you were a lot more knowledgeable.
I was. I learned so much during those middle 20 years. That was like such a hard place for me because I wanted amazing results, but I also wanted to enjoy the foods that I liked, and I was struggling so hard to try to find what diet was the best for me, and I made so many mistakes,
Yeah.
But who does that, right?
I think that's one thing that's interesting with a lot of fitness professionals. A lot of us have gone through this time where we did these really extreme things, whether it's with diet or with training or with anything health and fitness related, and we've done these things that didn't really work that well, but we learned a ton from, and then we can kind of impart that knowledge to anyone we work with now. Because I've done very low carb diet stuff in the past, and it was miserable, and it, I guess, sort of kind of worked, but I can get even better results by, actually eating carbs now. So I understand on a level that is through experience rather than just reading a study, which I think is really
photos
beneficial.
of myself. I was super lean. I was like actually too lean. It goes to the point where I'd go and see my doctor, and they would be like, "You're gonna have thyroid issues if you keep doing this." So I was like, it's leaner than you need to be for a woman's health, and it was just bad. So it's not to say that low carb diets aren't effective for fat loss, because they sure are. Like, they're super effective. But is it the best diet for your overall health and overall well-being and muscle and everything? I don't think so, just because from my own personal experience. But I know that everyone's different, and like you and Hannah have both said, you do better with a high-fat, low-carb diet, which is great, as long as you know what works for you, like you do what works for you. And yes, everybody is different.
one real quick shift back to the calorie counting, which we're kind of still on, but we have a question over here. If we had talked about the apps are available, like MyFitnessPal, that helps with calorie counting and also gives you the macronutrients you're eating. I have clients that use it, that like using it. I prefer pictures of, like a picture diary, because I can see portion size, I can see what it is, I can see the variety. It's not as taxing. So if someone's keeping a food log, that's kind of how I prefer to see it. My problem with those tracking apps is how accurate they are. And I'm not convinced that they're totally accurate for many reasons. The first, are you actually entering the food in the exact amount it is? A lot of times if you're going out to eat, or even if you're preparing something at home, if you don't remember exactly how much of the ingredient it is that you're using, and then, let's say you do, then you're like really measuring things out ridiculously. And again, that is, again, taxing. And I don't know, I don't think it's fun, but I think if you want to use a tracking app like that because it helps you be more accountable, then go for it. I'm just not sure how totally accurate it is.
I think accountability is the biggest victory of an app like that. You get to be accountable to yourself about what you're eating.
Well,
right.
Hannah has a good point that some of the stuff that you put in there may not be exact, because you can just make a meatloaf that you find on Skinny Taste, which actually has recipes in MyFitnessPal, or you can go to any other website and you're like, oh, meatloaf. I'm going to choose this meatloaf because it has the lowest calories. Instead of doing what could help you and would really benefit you is counting everything that goes into meatloaf that isn't like a veggie, but like the meat, the oil, whatever else you put in it. The reason behind that is it helps you become aware. And though it is obnoxious to sort of count calories really diligently for like 30, 60 days, you get an idea of what a portion size is. So when you go out to eat, you're like, well, this is probably about a third cup of rice. All right, cool. Like I know where I'm at. This is a sirloin steak. I know what most sirloins weigh in at. If it's 8 ounces, you cook meat or you weigh meat before it's cooked for the calories. It creates awareness. So I like it to give people awareness at first, but you can sort of get away from it. I've got to get away from it because I'm a little too anal about it, I guess. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm a perfectionist.
It's so really easy to get there.
That's it, right? Like you get to the point where you can't even enjoy a meal because you're just so worried about like how many carrots and how many potatoes are on your plate. It's like you can't even just enjoy flavors because all you're thinking is in terms of quantities. But
and that said, if it helped you, if it really helped you lose weight, it helped you lose weight, and keep doing it. And especially if it's not getting in the way of pleasurable eating. We all, we're supposed to first eat for fuel, but it can also be pleasurable experience.
Well, and also another great point that Robbie kind of made is like, if it helps you learn something that you're going to know for the rest of your life, that's huge, because that's what I'm really thankful for all my calorie counting experience, because I understand the value of a tablespoon of peanut butter, but before then I was just in the dark. I had no idea. But having been through all that, you just have a better appreciation of the value of food. I think it's like about learning the value of $1 too, These are things you kind of need to learn as you grow up.
I think one thing that's interesting is intuitive eating is kind of a popular thing right now. And intuitive eating can absolutely work. We kind of touched on that earlier. But I feel like intuitive eating is something that you have to earn. So by spending like maybe just 1 month of actually measuring everything you're doing, having a really good idea of what is what, and knowing, like 1 tablespoon of peanut butter has a ton of calories. I know that now because I track my food religiously for a month. And then you can ease into intuitive eating because kind of like Robbie was talking about, you know exactly what's actually happening.
Mhm.
Right. Cool. Okay, we're moving on. I want to talk. This is a trend that refuses to kind of die away, and I don't know why. I don't know who's even writing articles anymore about spot reduction. But is spot reduction fact or myth? Spot reduction means that you can pick a certain part of your body, and by working that area out, you can spot reduce fat in that area that you're working out.
To
So,
go ahead.
all of us on this panel, I don't even have to ask. I know we don't believe in spot reduction.
Oh,
Please
wait.
say otherwise you do.
Mostly.
Mostly. Oh, let's do
'cause
share.
this is my thing with spot reduction. Most of the time, if we're talking on a training level, it doesn't really make a difference. But on like a hormonal level, there are different things that can make a difference with spot reduction.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's pretty much really tiny, and it doesn't make that big of a difference anyway. But there are things like high cortisol is connected with having excess abdominal fat specifically.
Right.
So if you're able to have less chronic high level cortisol, high levels of cortisol, you might see a small difference with belly fat, but it's small, so it's not worth focusing on that. It's more worth eating lots of vegetables, some good lean proteins, and exercise
Right.
consistently.
Right, and doing crunches.
And again, that's addressing the hormonal side of things by using diet, by using exercise, sleep, hydration, not by exercising.
Not by doing a lot of crunches and sit-ups.
Exactly.
Oh my God, I used to be guilty of that too.
That's
So
so guilty of it all.
By heating up the area. I think the reason people think that is because when you work out a certain muscle group, you bring heat to the area, and also, you may sweat more in that area and makes you feel like you're burning more fat there, right? It's like a kind of a trick. It's, it can be really deceptive. But when it comes to burning body fat, I mean, it really is a full equation that takes into account your workouts, your nutrition, even your sleeping patterns.
Right. You brought up another good, I want to bring this up because we didn't talk about this on our list, but, I guess because it doesn't really fit on the list, but you're talking about sweating. Like people think they're burning more calories when they're sweating a lot.
Right.
There's another misconception that I think a lot of people should realize, that sweating is not related to calorie burn. It just means your body is heated and it's trying to cool itself down. So
or the weather is hot.
Right. So just because you're sweating more does not mean that you're losing more weight in the bigger picture. And actually, that's important in this conversation because one of the fitness trends that is really still big right now, but according to ACE, high intensity interval training, the trend is set to go down in this next year.
Oh, wow.
So, and the reason for that is a lot of people are experiencing a lot of negative, what's the word? Kind of just negative.
You're talking about injuries?
Personal feedback with that kind of training. More, like you can't get through some of these crazy boot camp workouts efficiently, and it makes you feel like a failure.
Yeah, I could see that.
So a lot of these
hardship kind of thing.
They're giving it up and they're going back to steady state cardio, which is unfortunate because if you're doing high intensity interval training properly, then it's actually not that bad at all. It's preferable to steady state cardio, if you ask me.
But
I think with the big problem.
For someone who's totally untrained and just starting out in fitness, it can be somewhat of a disaster. Like if I just took someone straight off the couch and said, all right, we're going to do a Tabata of burpees and push-ups, and their form was just terrible and all over the place, I think the harm is worse than the good. So it depends on which population we're talking about and what kind of prerequisite work they've been through.
Well, I think
what's a big issue is that the pendulum just swung too far to one direction. Because high intensity work is fantastic and it does get great results. You still need to do some steady state stuff and keep your aerobic base an aerobic base. But if you do like these crazy boot camps that exist, they're just trying to make it as difficult as possible. And that's not as effective. You can have a great high intensity interval training session that doesn't make you want to die and does help you burn tons of calories, tons of fat, and it's really, really effective. Pendulum just swung too far to one direction, and thankfully it's finally going to swing back a little bit.
Well, and I think
and a lot of trainers don't understand what high intensity interval training is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They think it's supposed to be this continuous high intensity training, but they forget the word interval is in there.
Yeah.
And it's truly designed to work your body to the max and then take an appropriate rest so that then you can perform the next interval at almost the same intensity. And the problem with just this constant high intensity is you lose your performance throughout. And then ultimately, because the work is less efficient, you're not gonna burn as many calories or have a better workout with that high intensity training without the interval.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No,
I think I just rambled a little bit.
No, it does. What I was going to say is sort of on the high intensity thing is I think everyone now like sees CrossFit games or they see like these crazy things and everyone wants to immediately go from the couch to be like, I'm going to run a Spartan race. And everyone's not a superhuman. And you can do high intensity training by like coming off the couch, but you can do it just by walking, like walk really fast for 30 seconds and then just sort of, chill and then walk really fast and then chill and then walk. Like you can do that, but you don't need to go from 0 to 100. We all start at the bottom and work our way up. We don't start at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Hopefully you guys are understanding you're hearing from a bunch of people who have all made terrible mistakes in our fitness career. That's how we know the things that we know is from our own personal mistakes and failures, and then also from seeing our clients go through these things too. I mean, each one of us has trained probably hundreds of clients, right? Maybe thousands for a couple of us. That's a lot of subjects to be observing over the years to figure out what works and what doesn't.
There's a quote I really like. I heard it a long time ago, and I'm probably paraphrasing it, but smart people learn from their mistakes, but truly wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So like, please learn from our mistakes, guys. Like we've done these things that don't necessarily work well, that feel miserable, whether it's way too intense on the intense training or way too few carbs on a strict diet, and it was miserable, and you can get just as good, if not better results by doing something else. So, learn from our mistakes and be more effective.
But the worst thing you can do is nothing. So if all of you are listening to this and you're like too afraid to try any of the things we've talked about, that's the worst thing you can do is just paralyze yourself with fear of trying. Like all of us have tried so many things and been brave enough to like step into the no carb zone and just see what it feels like. So, just don't be afraid. And maybe we're making things sound terrible, but we all survived.
Right. And that's the fitness journey, right?
Yes. That's the pleasure of it, feeling and succeeding.
You also brought up CrossFit Games and Spartan races. There's another interesting kind of segue into fitness trend. We're talking about the fitness trends that are on their way out. This one might not be, but fitness experiences like Spartan and warrior races, and I mean there are just so many that are really just they're continuing to blow up, and not only those experiences but boutique fitness class experiences, and you know, of course, we noticed it first in New York and LA and probably Miami, where these boutique studios spin experiences and class experiences kind of turn a fitness class into like a club pool experience. And now I see it happening. I see it happening around this area. I don't know if you've, Robbie, if you've heard of like Orange Theory Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's like a new one I recently heard that reminds me a lot of like even Exceed Fit in New York, and what's the one that I really love? I can't think of it, but these kind of boutique fitness experiences and races, I think these are trends that are here to stay. What do you guys think?
The races, I agree
And what
with.
do you think of them? The races and
The races I agree with, because there's a new one, like something frog. That's like, I don't even remember, but there's like
I saw the frog one.
yeah, that one and the Spartan race, and all the other ones. I like the idea of the race. I think that I think the reason those got really popular is they got popular while we were in a recession, and everyone was down and everyone was looking for something that they could conquer, something they had control over. And going through one of those races, you're like, yeah, I just like ran 3 miles and I went through like mud and dirt and I carried 50 pounds and I climbed a wall and like I'm a Spartan. Like you felt good about yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like that the races do that. Coming from my game background, it's kind of like, ooh, cool. I have like an epic boss battle I get to go on. But I think too many people, again, think they can just jump off the couch and go do those things. And a lot of injuries have happened, as people try to make them more intense and more intense. Yes, thank you, KP Kelly, Battle Frog. They continue to make these more and more and more intense. And yes, we want intensity, but like going into doing something that you don't have a lot of training for. I mean, Ninja Warrior is awesome, but there's no way. But I think those will continue to rise. But I think
I want to be a Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
I know you were planning out, weren't you? Like at some point, weren't you gonna do it?
I know. I was like, I got to do this.
Or were you
Now
just
or never.
doing,
I'm gonna
like
be a
when we
Ninja
were working at Rick's in New York and you were doing like monkey bars and stuff?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. I was like, oh, I can swing across this thing, no problem.
You got great potential.
One day.
I think the big thing with whether it's American Ninja Warrior or Battle Frog, which really should be called Battle Toads, but that's probably copywritten.
Agreed.
But all these different things, I think it's a really good motivator for people to get them off the couch, but they can't try to go from 0 to 60 instantly. It should be a motivator to start training and start working towards that eventual goal that you work up to, which is fantastic, because whatever motivates you to lead a more healthy and happy lifestyle is awesome, whether that's something like a Spartan race or Battle Frog, or I did like a little 5K mud run once. It wasn't even that physically difficult, but it was really fun. I just had a good time. I actually like won a watch while I did it too. It was a fun experience. So anything that's going to help motivate someone is fantastic. It's just a matter of having that motivation go to the right place, not just diving in head first, but finding a good training program, training the right way to get to the point that you're ready, and then you can crush it, and then you have that awesome feeling of accomplishment that Robbie talked about, and you're just feeling awesome.
Right.
Well,
Right. Yeah, so I think those are
from the couch, like, and this is a good question we have from Mike Lauren about how do you go about recommending a workout program or nutrition? Like, how does a person find the right type of training to prepare for a race or even for anything, whatever their goal is? How does a person find training?
Well, my website was already shared, so I'm just teasing.
well, and that is true. You know, we're all, and I don't know about you, Robbie. You might have to pitch your website, but Jess and I and Coach Ben have workout programs available online to give you a starting point. However, you know, if you have any previous, regardless, it is always a good idea to seek out a professional, to see a trainer, even just for a couple sessions, for an assessment, to know that you're ready to start a program, everyone's ready to start a program, but we're all going to start at a different place. So super important to seek out a professional when just starting a fitness program. That's going to help you. I mean, that's going to ultimately give you the best results. Since we're talking fitness trends, a really cool online tool, and we're talking assessments, and this is something that maybe could help you, figure out, first of all, is your body in alignment? And then maybe if your body is in alignment and you have good mind-body awareness, you're ready to do any one of our programs online. But there's this website called postureanalysis.com. And I just found out about it. I looked at it briefly. I haven't tried it myself, so I guess I can't speak super highly of it. But apparently, if you take a picture of yourself at all angles, and it helps you with postural alignment and kind of guides you from there, which I think is really interesting. These technology gadgets are fitness trends that are definitely in right now and on the rise.
Mm-hmm. And
so yeah, find a local trainer at a local gym, at a gym, preferably. It's better to have that trainer right there, if you ask me.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say.
Huh?
It does. Jess has a good point. It does depend on where you are.
We're getting delayed.
Yeah. I don't think that everybody in every situation has good trainers locally, and it's unfortunate. It'd be great if everyone had a good trainer that was local, but not everyone does. And one of my clients drives an hour 4 times a week to see me just because she doesn't like any of the trainers who are within an hour of where she lives. So I do think that, if you find a good trainer and they don't live near you, go online or travel to see them. I mean, it's not that crazy to fly from a different state to a different state to see the trainer that you want to see. If you're really serious about your results and you really trust and believe in that trainer's ability to help you, I don't see any problem with that. I'd be willing to fly to New York to see a specialist if I needed to, I know not everyone has the money to do that, but just making that effort is not totally crazy.
Yeah, and one thing I think in terms of finding a trainer that's a good trainer, people in the fitness industry always talk about good trainers versus bad trainers, but it's really hard to know if you just walk into your local gym who's good and who's bad. And I think one of the telltale signs of a trainer that is not as good as someone you could find, whether it's online or traveling a little ways, is if the trainer that you meet or you have a free assessment with at your local gym, if they speak in absolutes, it's something that in my book is a really big red flag, because anything in the fitness industry depends. It depends on your goals. It depends on you as an individual. Mm-hmm. So if you go in there and they say, hey, this is absolutely the number one, best, and only way to do what you're trying to do, that's a big red flag, because it depends on a lot of factors.
All of my clients do the same thing. If they say my clients do this or my clients do that, that's a red flag right there, because sometimes trainers get really stuck in one way of doing things for every human, and every person is not the same. So make sure that trainer sees your individuality, sees your unique needs, and doesn't just put you through a cookie cutter system.
I would even offer this to anyone that wants.
But also, here's another kind of.
We have a delay. I was gonna say, one thing you can do is, if you find a trainer you really like online, reach out to them and say, hey, I live in this city, but I want to find someone in this city. Do you know anyone? I will honestly, I have built a decent network. I will reach out and say, hey, is there anyone near this city that lives in this city? If I know them, I will be like, yes, go to this person. I trust them. I know their work online. I know the clients that they deal with. So always reach out. Someone, if they really want to help you, they will go find someone to help you.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, the worst they're going to say is no, so just ask.
We're in this industry to help people too. So reaching out from our websites or on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever, we want to be as helpful as we possibly can be. So don't hesitate to reach out. That's why we're here.
Yeah, personal trainers are trying to get rich.
And here's another idea. if you're just getting started with your health and fitness journey and you don't know what to do, the first thing you can do is go for walks, or go to your gym, get on the treadmill, learn how. People that work at the gym at least know how to use the cardio equipment. There are usually machines at gyms, and a machine, learning how to properly use the chest press machine, the lat pull down. Most fitness workers or gym staff folks can at least guide you how to properly use equipment. So stick to the equipment, the cardio equipment, the fixed machines, while you're just getting started or while you're looking for a trainer. So don't let not having a trainer, not having a workout program stop you from getting going.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So did we the trends?
All right. So are there any other fitness trends? Let me just change the topic back. That are out. We talked about some that are in. Let me see. I did take a few notes. You guys have any fitness trends you think are out?
I was thinking it'd be great to finish off
Like
with
any fitness gadgets?
What do you think are the next
Seen online?
trends? Like, what are we going to see in the year 2016 and beyond? Like, what's going to become popular?
Body weight.
Well, I think technology, everything from that postural analysis, online streaming of workouts, whether they're personal or in a group setting. I think, what else?
So technology that tracks your steps and workouts.
Yeah. And also tracks your movement, right, Jess? You were wearing a sports bra that tracked something.
Yeah, it was tracking
what was
breathing,
it tracking?
heart rate, and it even gives you like a push score. I think that's really like going to be the new trend of things, is having technology that you can interact with. It tells you how hard you're working, and even like that bra, even the app that it comes with, it'll give you workouts to do. Like, you can just follow the workouts on the app. So I think that's a really, like, integrating technology in that way is really cool too. But yeah, online personal trainers, I think it's a huge trend, really blowing up. And I know I've been doing this. I would love to know how long you all have been in the industry, but my first online client was 2010. So I've been doing it for that long now.
Ahead of the curve.
When did you guys start?
Started in general or start online work?
Online.
I started about 1 year and 9 months ago with my own online stuff, but I didn't really get serious about it until about last 6 months. It was like, you know what? This is where things are heading. This is where I'm going to start focusing. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of different things in terms of like my life goals and things like that and whatnot. But I started my website about 1 year and 9 months ago, and it's been a fun adventure ever since.
And Hannah, when did you start doing online coaching and training?
I don't do a whole lot of online coaching.
Okay. Yeah,
I do it by request. Yeah, I'm still pretty jam-packed with my studio and clients there, training about 8 hours a day. So that's about all I can handle. I'm right now just online. Yeah, online doesn't.
But you did create
time
online
for it.
When did you create your first online program?
So I created my first online program about 2 years ago, and then launched it just 1 year ago. It took me like a whole year to get it perfect, to trial it, to take a group through it. And that's definitely something I want to continue doing, because I feel like that's a way for me to reach more people
Same here.
through these workout programs. And I'm very available. So if people want to send me an email, ask me questions, I get back to people, and I can be available that way. So it's really fun for me.
What about you, Robbie?
I started just 1 year ago, and have been doing online and in person. I sort of was doing this while my wife was finishing up grad school and was working at a corporate job where I didn't do anything for the last 6 months but hang out on my website.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad way to spend time. It's good if you're helping people with that website. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there you have it. Online training is such a new trend that you have 4 trainers here that just barely started within the last 4 years. So I can't wait to see where we all are 4 years from now, you know, and I know that things are going to evolve. I know for me, things have evolved so much. Like back in the day, it was so, you know, I didn't even know what I was doing. So I just started kind of feeling things around in the dark and trying to figure out what works and everything. And I was actually really pleasantly surprised that the first client I ever worked with online, she got better results in the 6 months after, like, because I started with her in New York in person. And then when I moved to California, we stayed connected by doing online coaching. And she got better results in that 6 months than the 6 months that we were actually working person to person. So that was cool. And, you know, since then I've seen incredible results from online clients. And I think that including the nutrition aspect of things, like wouldn't you guys all say that when you talk to someone about nutrition and you work on their nutrition with them, their results are 10 times better than when you just work on the fitness alone?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's like my biggest thing with online coaching is that you can actually talk nutrition. Like when you're in person in a gym, it's just not the right setting to have conversations about nutrition. I always feel awkward talking about what they should eat and stuff while they're trying to work out. It's just
time's really tight when you're in the gym. You're in the middle of sets. You're resting in between lifting heavy things. It's like, all right, so this week what we really want to focus on, like, oh my gosh, like too much at the same time.
Yeah,
right. I think that's totally true. I find myself trying to check in nutritionally with clients, but not overwhelm them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty hard to find that balance of, you know, directing your clients nutritionally and, you know, during their workout. So, yeah, that's it. So online coaching, big trend. The other big trend, I think, in the fitness industry is foam rolling and the recovery. I think those are 2 components of workouts that have been missing from too many people's picture. And I think it's becoming more and more on trend to make sure that you foam roll and that your recovery is just as important as the workouts.
I've been saying for a long time, you need to be just as dedicated to your rest and recovery as you are to your training. And that goes even beyond just foam rolling. It even involves enough sleep. I know Robbie's been on a bulk. We've been talking recently about his sleep gains and making sure he's getting plenty of sleep. It makes a huge
9:30,
difference.
baby, 9:30.
Exactly. Like it really does matter. And those little things make a big difference.
How you been doing on that, Robbie?
You know, my wife likes to make fun of me because I'm in bed by like 9:30, 9:45. But you know, I don't really care because I'm going to sleep. I'm up at 5. I'm up at 5 to work. So if I go to bed at 10 and I don't fall asleep till 10:30, I'm getting 5.5 hours.
No. Yeah, you're very smart for going to bed at 9. Great.
Yeah. Speaking of it, it's already 8 and I haven't had dinner and I have to go to bed at 9.
Yeah, I know. It's such a bummer to see someone like not progress because of lack of sleep. Like I have a client going through that right now, and it's just so hard because we just look at each other and we both know what the problem is. She's like, I didn't sleep last night, and I'm like, I can totally tell. So, you know, definitely everybody prioritize your sleep. There are different ways that you can get better and deeper sleep, and one of the biggest ones is just setting your bedtime earlier. When, you know, 9 o'clock rolls around, turn all the lights out in your house, like turn the TV off, you know, brush your teeth and go lay in your bed. You know, it's as simple as that.
We're all such old fogies. We're so lame. We should have said that we had Seth Rogen, and then when we replayed the audio, we'd be like, yeah, we had Greg Olson and Seth Rogen.
Greg Olson and Seth Rogen. That's a pretty good cast. Except I don't know how much Seth actually knows about fitnessy things, but
yeah, probably not much.
Funny.
Didn't he have some weight loss
in shape? I thought.
Yeah, he got in shape, didn't he?
He lost a lot of weight.
I think so.
He probably did.
He got a trainer.
Yeah, well, there's a whole joke about that in this is the
We
end.
got it.
What's
I didn't
up?
see that one. It looked funny.
Oh, I missed it. I gotta look up on his
This is the end. That movie came out a little while ago.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. Well, I think we've covered it,
Okay,
right?
guys, so let's wrap it up.
It's time for all of us to go to bed.
I think we're getting like delayed here.
Yeah,
It's
I think
all
there's
over
been
the
some
place.
strange delays.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining.
Absolutely.
Let's definitely do this again. We had 220 viewers tonight, visitors, so that's pretty cool. A
Thanks
lot
for
of
the props,
eyes, a lot of subscribers. So you guys definitely made the Blab more fun, more interactive. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for the jokes, KP Kelly. KP Kelly is a good return visitor, full of jokes tonight. And guys, thanks for your questions, your feedback. If there are any topics you want us to cover, please tweet them to us. Make sure you're following Ben Johnson. Follow SideQuest Fitness. These guys know what they're talking about. We will see you next Tuesday night, 4 p.m. Pacific Coast, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.